Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. If you know one thing about roots reggae, I can bet it's pretty obvious that the word Babylon is the most notorious and hated name on record. The term used to describe the corrupt, oppressive, and exploitative system of the modern world. The machinery of the oppressor that fights hard to enslave mankind, sabotage righteous living, and destroy the natural order of life as Jah himself had intended on the planet. I dare say that after Babylon, no other institution or personality has attracted the same level of venom and hatred like a mysterious figure that is simply known as Bagowaya, a very strange name that I've heard in countless songs by some of reggae's biggest stars. In addition to the ones I played at the start of this video, I've heard the name get called out by the likes of Joseph Hill, Peter Tosh, and Dillinger. So I got curious and decided to do some digging, and over time discovered that this person is not only considered by reggae fans as one of Babylon's worst agents, but is also one of the most despised figures in the Rastafarian community, and I'm talking worldwide for almost 100 years. He committed the worst offense possible that brought down one of the most revered figures of the Rasta movement and became the slang word for betrayal. Now this story begins with the great Marcus Garvey, the legendary Jamaican political activist, black nationalist, and Pan-African crusader. He lived in several countries around the world and became an advocate for the independence of African countries under European colonization. He made the unity of black people his life work and sowed the very seeds that would birth the Rasta movement when he predicted that the crowning of a black king in Africa was signal that freedom for the black man was near. The coronation of King Haile Selassie a few years later convinced hardcore Garvey followers like Leonard C. Howell and Archibald Dunkley that Selassie was the second coming of Christ and Garvey his prophet. These Garveyites developed what became known as the Rastafarian faith, but en route to being canonized as a Rasta prophet, Garvey's radical Pan-African activism with his group, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, reportedly ruffled lots of feathers in political circles and made him a target of the establishment while he was living in New York by the early 1920s. One of his most ambitious projects was the launching of the Black Star Liner Shipping Company, an organization that he envisioned would become a black-owned economic powerhouse and, more importantly, a means to repatriate all willing Africans back to the motherland. It's been said that the establishment felt threatened by this vision and was determined to bring him and his group down no matter what. The UNIA was at its most powerful position in 1923 with thousands of loyal members all over America. The person that was closest to Garvey was his Jamaican chauffeur, confidant, and assistant. The man who drove him everywhere, spent the most time with him, and the fly on the wall that listened in on his most important and confidential discussions. We don't know his real name, but he became known later simply as Bagowaya. That same year, Marcus Garvey was arrested in 1923 regarding faulty paperwork for the Black Star Liner Company. Some people suspected that Bagowaya must have been the one who tipped off the police and the people who were looking to bring Garvey down, but no one had any proof until 4 years later. Garvey was deported to Jamaica in 1927 and kept Bagowaya on as a driver and assistant. But 2 years later, his cover was blown after he tipped off the police that his boss Marcus Garvey had just given a fiery speech that criticized the colonial government and Jamaica's legal system in general. Once again, Garvey was arrested and locked in prison for several months. Eventually word came out and Bagowaya was exposed as the one who had snitched on his boss to Babylon for the equivalent of the cost of a plate of rice and peas. He became the most isolated and despised figure on Jamaica's streets and was so overcome with guilt that he suffered a nervous breakdown and eventually lost his mind. Bagowaya was seen for years, dressed in nothing more than a sackcloth bag that was so threadbare that his metal wires dangled out all over it, and was what earned him the nickname of Bagowaya. He would wander the streets of Kingston for years until he vanished out of sight and into folklore as the man who betrayed Jah's prophet Marcus Garvey. Even after Garvey died in 1940, the story of Bagowaya continued to be passed down from one generation to the next as the personification of the accursed traitor, and with time became part of Jamaican patois used to describe a backstabber or informer. With the rise of roots reggae in the 70s and the celebration of Rasta culture and icons like Selassie and Marcus Garvey, the name Bagowaya became an often repeated reference name dropped by the likes of the Burning Spear, the Mighty Diamonds, Peter Tosh, and many more with the passage of time. A cautionary figure and tale that Jamaicans describe and regard as the very personification of betrayal and treachery. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.